Hi everyone, here to do the update. Yes, I have had no presence whatsoever on YouTube Live. No, I haven't forgot you. I have been fiercely getting the videos ready for mid-month for Soulmate and Twin Flame update. How are we all? So who's the first person on scene? Giggle. Hello, Elizabeth. Welcome back. Do we have any newbies in the house? Hi, Jen. How have we been going? Well, it's a stupid question, really. I mean, how have we been going? Okay, for those of you who are new, at times we may use profanity. Apologies ahead of time. Sort of, kind of. Yes, I do smoke tobacco. I do not promote it. I'm one of those laid-back readers that is kind of earthy. Hi, Deb. Welcome. How are our frequencies going? It's always funny because I always get an inkling when it's time to go live, and I'm like, and it's usually when everyone's messaging me or I'm picking up on a frequency. And I'm noting a frustration in the air. It's like Giggle's favourite saying, how's Divine Masculine feeling? Yeah, the wind's not blowing the right way. Don't you laugh at me, Shelley. Yeah, so it's that frustration. And the interesting thing is, okay, planetary-wise, we have, as of the 16th, Venus is going direct, Mercury's going retrograde. Jupiter is moving into its home sign, which is a swap of the frequency from Scorpio through to Sagittarius. Now, the interesting thing is, with it being in Scorpio, these birds are very noisy, it's the shadow aspect of ourselves and the things we look at within our relationships and our connections. You know, if any of you have had a relationship in the last week go, and you're really wanting it back, it's not bad. Don't freak about that. It's hard to hold a relationship during this time, you know, because we all are purging, we're having an assessment, and that's for whomever you're with. So the behaviors might not be as normal as usual. Universe just isn't working with me today. So with the planets moving in that direction, you may find, excuse me, I wonder, I might be able to get rid of the birds by turning the sprinklers on. It may work. Yeah, I know they love me. I'm known as the bird lady, Deb. It's like I call them my babies, and now they just won't leave me alone. Hi, Heidi. Welcome. Okay, so on the notion of transformations, a lot of feminines, I would not be surprised if you're getting damn right pissed off right now. Okay? Disillusioned in pockets, cheesed off, so to speak. Almost seeing synchronicities in the readings, which a lot of you, when you see, the reality is, it's a bit like manifesting. You see a frequency in a read, and then the ego, you're like, where is this shit? You know, where is it? I can't see it. What a load of shit. You want to hear it, but then you do hear it, then you don't believe it. Then you're to another point. You hear something that triggers you, and you're like, why didn't they put a warning on that? That's like really triggered me. What a load. So it's like we're in that feminine frequency. We're very much in that Libran frequency as well, you know. It's a bit like we're on the fence and we're like, do we, don't we? 1 minute it might be the next minute we're Bloody Mary kind of angry. It is a very interesting frequency. Now, if you're asking, has it changed? Intuitively, yes, it has. The downloads I've been getting is it's going down in Donkey Town, I'm telling you. Like, things are changing. we're picking up on that vibration. That's where the agitation is coming from. Looking at the, you know, at different videos, seeing synchronicities coming through. Very strange dreams. Totally agree with that, Heidi. Odd dreams connected to many things, not just one domain. Very, very strange dreams. Some of you, the download I've had is, it's on either side, but I'm feeling it's more on your counterpart side. There's a bit of stalking going on. So don't be surprised if you feel like looking over your shoulder and you feel someone's watching you. I do feel that frequency at a 5D and in a 3D. So that may be where they're assessing the situation, engaging whether it is safe to directly intercept and communicate with you. So they're really trying to gauge that situation and see if it's going to be safe to do that factor. When the agitation's coming through, it is due to the fact that they're working that one out. Some ailments have been coming through, all the way through to physically not being able to sleep, to feeling really, really fatigued. Some of you are also going to be feeling a state where you're in a hurry, like you need to get things done, you're running out of time. How many of you have been feeling that frequency this week? It's probably been amping up, I would say, from October onwards, but it's been getting heavier as it moves through. It's like, you know, it's like the Mad Hatter and the rabbit, you know, and you're late. That's what I'm hearing for a very important day. It's just, it's really freaky. Song synchronicities are coming through very heavily. Feeling like you're looking at your phone and you're thinking, have I missed something? Was that going to ring? Or, and it's not really just connected to twin. It's in general. It's like this, having too many balls in there and trying to get everything done and thinking, oh my God, am I actually going to get all of these tasks completed in time in order to be prepared for whatever universe is bringing? And universe is bringing something, because that frequency for me as a psychic has always been so, where on a life level, I've noticed patterns. And for me, if I've been throwing things out, I'm preparing for the new. If I've been setting things in order and setting up, I'm staying. If I've been making room again, something new coming in. It is nesting, but it's preparing because something's being added to it. When you're throwing out, whatever you give away, you get back, but it's replaced. So it's the balance of the universe. If suddenly you find you're throwing things away and you're putting things away, that's a different thing. You're gearing up, ready to move. So there is physical movement. So it won't be that you're staying in a location. It'll be you're directly leaving a location. I'm trying to gain routine. So I feel like for me in my personal life, the balance that I'm trying to get is so that I can have a romance life, is so that, you know, I can give to YouTube and I can have a healthy life balance. Certain zodiac signs are going to be affected. Hi, Carmen. She's probably doing the same thing as well, trying to balance everything, balls in the air. Just trying to get home in order, you know, work in order, life in order, family in order. It feels like too many balls in there. That's the only way I can say it. That you're wanting, it's not necessarily that you want to be in hermit mode. You have to be in hermit mode in some level to actually get the tasks done. And that's where the nagging frequency is coming through of you need to, you know, caught up on. And it's, yeah, it is before the end of the year, but it's because something is actually coming. Something's changing and you need to prepare. And there's lots of little things that you may feel you're making leeway, and then all of a sudden it's like another wall, another door. And it's not saying no, it's saying, how do I put it? It's trying to keep you occupied. That's the only way I can describe it. It's like, it's almost like universe saying, feminine energies, we know you're going batshit crazy. We know you got too much crap on your plate. After the fact, you'll be super proud of what you've achieved. But at the same time, it's sort of like it's child minding for you. So be it you're purging, be it you're working, those things that you're doing are to prepare for you. Now, if you're avoiding tasks, you're delaying the process. Also, with aspects of communication, I need to touch base with you guys on that. Each one of you in your own individual wave, in your own unique path, do need to have a look at the communication as per se. If you've been delaying something in connection to your twin, and there's been communication but it's been choppy and it's never quite getting off the ground, you need to address that area for those of you who are in direct communication. If it's bouncing back and forward, what you're doing is you're not drawing a line in the sand and saying, hey, this needs to transform. Now, if you don't do it on your side, universe will. Even if you know that within communication, within the twin flame connection is choppy and does have a direct consequence, if that is so, all you're doing is delaying what's going to be. So for the transformation then to actually come through, you're directly delaying that transformation. You know, it's very difficult to actually trust the process and understand and the trust within the connection that speaking your truth doesn't have to be nasty, but it can be to the point where you're actually owning your net worth, your value. And if you're not owning that, you're going to become angry with yourself that, you know, if the way in which they're dealing with you, you feel is careless towards yourself, then you need to address that for self-respect in yourself and for them to have a realization of value. Sometimes the old saying goes, we don't know what we've got till it's gone. And for many feminines in the second wave, and I deem it as the second wave because the first wave at a theoretical level was much older, but theoretically the next group that are going through are deemed as the first wavers, so be it what it will. That group, it's not if you've done the work, because we're doing the work through our whole life and our whole journey. If you have owned your net worth spiritually, even if there's been no communication and you're getting very disheartened, there's some groups of you that are on the cusp of saying, if this doesn't sort soon, there's never any going back. And that's really to, how do I put it, the point where you're being very serious about, you know, how much more you can take. And it's not that you don't want to, it's that enough BS. Like, let's cut to the chase. Yes, we have unconditional love, but I mean, we literally do, how do I put it? Some of you, not all of you, some of you are coming to the frequency of, you know, look, if you can't see what you have and it's been given to you at a very fucking unconditional level, you are dumb as batshit. You know, and that's something spiritually, God bless, you're going to have to work out yourself, and doesn't mean you physically have to go. Yes, it may do, but, you know, that's going to be completely on your path of what you feel right and connecting the dots of how you feel it's got to be. Some of us early on in the journey, and I'm lucky I didn't know, you know, that I was a twin early on in the piece. I may have missed opportunities of having children. I may have missed opportunities of having marriages. You know, it wasn't that I didn't want those things with my twin, but my twin was not stepping to the plate and wanting it. And perhaps in an aspect, yes, from a spiritual level, both triggering each other, we directly did the same thing. So yes, we were mirroring each other. But the consequence of being due to the purging and due to the growth within both of us as human beings, I would have missed out on situations in my life. Now, only you can choose what you feel is correct for you. It's very difficult, you know, especially when in the beginning stages, which I'd say half of the pocket of the second wavers, which is deemed as first, are still in that frequency of sacral chakra energy. You're boom chicka wah wah, man, I'm addicted to you, and it's got to be, you know, that frequency you get. Others of us know that that's a reality within the spiritual connection, but we're also trying to use our heads. We're trying to be very practical and say, yes, I know that's so, and yes, we know whatever we do, yeah, it's like being sober. That's about the square of it. We know what it is, but we know also what it can be, but unless they can directly see the potential, and this was my quote this morning, I don't want to dream the dream. For me personally, I don't want to dream the dream. Yes, in a manifestation level, very differently. I know my net worth and I want to live the dream. And if that means I have to walk away from things because the person can't see my net value, so bloody be it. I have been very patient on my spiritual path for 17 years. And, you know, also, you know, that's not to say that in 48 hours in 1 year, your mindset can't change. But I feel due to retrograde, many of us are at that crossroad. And yes, the frequency will be picking up from the twin, you know, where they're going to be picking up on that signal. I've almost where on the path there were times where, you know, early on in the piece, I would feel direct guilt if I chose a different relationship, that I was abandoning my counterpart. That's really the feeling I had at the very early stages. It was like, regardless of who they were with, I felt I was cheating on my twin. It was a very weird kind of feeling when really you're not, because they've left. They've jumped ship. And you're sitting there and you're like, why do I feel as though I am cheating on you when you're not here? But it's interesting because it's the aspect of the mirror, right? And then you get to a point where, you know, you might be in a connection and you're feeling it's correct and it goes dormant for a while, it goes to sleep, and then again, somehow in your own skin, you don't feel correct. Now, I feel this is relevant, what I'm saying. And I do feel the reason I'm saying it is because this is what's going on with masculine. But that time frame, we know the time frame it took for us. We do need to be mindful that, you know, I've started doing the readings for the 16th, and that's because it is the death of ego, that time frame. And a lot of the reasons why we get scared to actually make decisions is because our ego is speaking to us. So we're scared of a consequence. So it is an aspect of egoic manipulation towards the outcome of a situation. And, you know, any person can do that. We all have that aspect there. Ego will always be there, but we need to be in that mindfulness to know what the ego is saying and be mindful enough to move beyond it and say, thank you, Beacon, for acknowledging the fact that you're having a trigger point there. But now I'm going to discern between what is and what isn't right for me right now with this situation. So each day you can only make a decision from the day point. And if a reading doesn't connect with you, don't take it personally. It's a point in time, okay? Especially since if I have like triggered anyone, I don't mean to. I'm merely talking from a frequency point of view. That does change. However, moving forward to the 16th, especially since I've been finding the frequency is almost picking up in pace, I feel a lot of you might get very triggered moving into the 16th. Very triggered, very angry, very panicked, misconfusion. It can be conflict as well. So you're going to need to be mindful of that. Be coherent during that egoic state, because it's going to come up and it's going to come crashing down. It's a bit like we're being thrown from a building. That's about the only way I can describe it. Which I love those birds, but geez. Now, as for the path forward, I started doing the videos Twin Flame and Soulmate, and I stopped, and I ended up doing them 3 times, which is sort of an oxymoron. I've now done them to the point where I have masculine and feminine and then soulmates, okay? Now, in the soulmate videos, you can cross-reference, because look, not every twin is going to be in a karmic situation connected to a karmic, so to speak. It could be a soulmate frequency that a lesson was to be learned or for them to be healed in that dynamic. And I know in my journey, part of my soul healing was through a soulmate frequency for me to show that I could have a loving connection and it didn't have to be complicated like the joyous twin flame path, so to speak. So they're very different, unique connections. The twin flame is very different. It's and it can feel like a part of you is directly missing, but when you're coming into union with yourself, you do feel you take the responsibility that you realize, and you're in that self-awareness state that yes, they're part of you, but you have to feel that, you know, especially when they're not there, to a point you can actually fill that void. What else was I picking up? Deep frustrations, I mean, to say the least. He's in a mess. When he cancelled, I told him, thank you for protecting me. Yeah. Look, I don't, and a lot of things with the videos, especially that I come across one on Facebook, and I looked at it and I went, wow. I think being on YouTube has really made me super aware, and it's not to say I didn't say anything in this video to trigger anyone, but I really have had that self-awareness within what I say to people. Now, especially with moving into the age of Aquarius and us transforming, having direct compassion and understanding, moving paradigms into a point where, especially moving into 2019, we've got our niche groups, but we're going to be asked to move beyond that factor, which the niche group becomes the ego. Food for thought. Are we going to move into 2019 using our own mindset and not being triggered by what media says, what our tribe says, what our family says? Are we going to be awakened enough with the ego moving with us, but not to allow the ego to become the tribe? Does that make sense? Because what's right for you and what's reality and what's not is going to be shown, and we're going to question it. So even moving into that sphere, it is still something that's going to be transferring with, you know, what's going on with other people. Why? Because I'm always mowing the lawn, Carmen, because I don't have a bloody masculine. Fuck. 2019, depending on the zodiac sign you are, from the research I've done, Sagittarius is probably going to have really big changes. Jupiter is moving into its own home sign, but the transformation of where it was initially for Sagittarius, it would have been all their dark shadow aspects coming through for them, heavily so, where they've been hiding certain things emotionally, and all those core wounds that they've been ever so balanced and not bringing up, it's all going to come to the surface, but they're going to be fixing things, realigning things. Libran is ending a 7.5-year cycle of crappy relationships, money, and most of us will be cleaning up old connections. Libra next year, from the research I've done, will have to choose between, how do I put it, if you've had problems ongoingly in your life with family where they've tried to put themselves first and say, hey, bugger your career, you know, I need you, good old empath Librans, you're going to need to pick your poison, because it's going to be too hard to do both. And we can only help another if we can help ourselves. That's the honest truth. And when it comes to our finances, amazingly enough, the paradigm with Librans has always been, when we're helping, we've always got heaps. But now it's time for them to learn their karmic cycle of not enabling them, of letting them see that they have that power themselves. Which again, even helping is an egoic state. Does that make sense? Yeah, so it might be mum or dad. At the moment, it is very much mother frequency coming through for feminines. For the masculines, it's father figure frequency. So we're healing those aspects, and in the Venus retrograde, be it, you know, we might be getting triggered by our mothers, or we might be looking at them going, okay, I grasp the mirror of what's going on here. Yeah. And I feel in a way, especially for me, my transformation, I actually, yes, I would like clarity in my path of, you know, where I'd like to go. Definitely behind the scenes. Gemini the same, Deb. You know, Geminis, I feel, Geminis have been very patient this year, and I feel heart-related emotions when it comes to, you guys haven't been yourself this year with Geminis. You know, people aren't seeing your value. And it's a real strange energy for Gemini. It's just, it doesn't feel like a traditional vibration for Gemini at the moment. But Gemini's really going to be like the Phoenix rising. They've really tapered the way in which they're communicating. They're cautious and they're self-aware about certain situations. They also have had some friends go by the wayside, where they truly believe that these people, you know, were very, very key people in their life. But, yeah, almost like But don't own that. That's not you. They really fucked you over. I'll just say that. I can see that frequency where it's like, wow, I didn't see that coming. Some of you directly were betrayed by a friend, a female figure. But really, with your work domain, you know, when you're working at the moment, it's becoming your tool to actually meditate, you know, so that you can really cope with all this, the downloads that you're getting and the things you're sensing. And but people are very jealous of the Gemini frequency. It's kind of dissipating a bit now, but, you know, from March onwards, there was that very harsh energy around, like a dark cloud around Gemini, that was feeling very tired and fatiguing. Any other questions? While the third eye's open. The birds have gone away. I can turn this. Ooh, Capricorn. Now, too, I believe Capricorn is going into a new cycle in 2019, and I feel you guys are... It's 50-50. It's either going to be super fly or it's going to be, wow, I'm having an awakening big time. All passed on the, yeah. Capricorns, though, have been going through fly on the wall syndrome, where they've been meditating upon people around them and really making a very big 360. And if this hasn't been seen in the external, the 3D, it's going to come without warning. And if they're really in a toxic relationship where they're being forced almost to stay in certain situations and vibrations, but when it comes about and they've made their mind up, it's almost like a Sagittarius energy. It's like, right, done. And that's very unique with Sagittarians, is they're all for that one. They're in. It's very simple. It's very black and white with Sagittarians. But you cross the Sagittarian, whew, you want to climb out of the state, because they'll be up and out and it'll be done. Okay, if they're hot and heavy with you, they're hot and heavy. If you fuck them off, you best be finding a shelter. You don't ever want to mess with them. They're a bit like Scorpions, really, but I'd say worse, but in a good way. You know, hey, I've been tolerant way, but yes, it isn't, but it's not. It's like a Libran, you know. They've been balancing that shit out, mulling over it in their mind. And, you know, depending on what they do to actually diffuse their mind, but it's like ADHD I'm seeing in my head. It's like the mind goes at 100 miles an hour. They're very mathematical. They're very, if they're doing a job, it's to the T. It's dynamite. But, you know, your mum's probably the type that if she's thinking, she's cooking and she's doing something, get out of my way, I need to do this. You know mum's pissed when she's doing that, because she's thinking. Your mum's a Libran. It depends on what a rising sign is, because I actually find you get your certain traits from your direct sign, and then your rising sign, especially as you get older, you tend to connect to the both. How do you think the Xmas holidays will go? Oh, God, buckle up, babies. Half are going to be jumping the gun and shit's going to be going down. Half are just going to sit there in fair-based frequency of, can we wait till 2019? My rising's Cancer as well. Cancer cusp, Gemini. Pisces have been dealing with frequencies of past over loved ones. It's almost like a haunting, but not in a bad way. It's an old pain, you know? Yeah, I think we all deserve the best, really. So was I right about your mum, Deb? Is that what she does when she's cooking? I better turn this off before I get in trouble. Yeah, good old Cancer rising. Cancerians are very family orientated, but at the moment the Cancerians, you know, I did used to do live sessions for all the, which next year I will. I'll go back to that. Yeah. Your mum's cute. Her frequency's cute. She talks with the hands too. Cancerians are very family orientated, but all Cancerians have been having a reassessment of the whole 360 life. It's like, okay, where is my connection to family? Where's my core wound connected to family? Where is my connection to mother-father frequency? Why do I have to be responsible all the time? Why can't I drop off the grid? And it's interesting because I did a past life, and it's really strange because you'll find your twin will be a similar sign to you at times, not always. You know, you never get triggered by that. You always know who your twin is. But my soulmate energy is a Cancer, my twin is a Cancer, and my rising sign is a Cancer. So I can't listen to the video because I don't know who the fuck they're talking about. Well, I do, but, you know, intuitively I do. But just, you're like, well... And my twin's rising sign is Libra. He probably doesn't even know that, but I do. And my soulmate's rising sign was a Leo, and my karmic was a Leo. I have dated other signs. I just got myself in a pickle, that's all. But Cancerians, really the burden, huge burdens, you know, really carrying burdens for many, many years. And it was the catalyst to the change, okay? Can a soulmate and a twin be a best friend? Look, you will know if you were destined to be with your twin in this lifetime. And the reason being is because you will quite comfortably fall into the frequency of simply going, I'm so happy for you. You are. You never want bad for your twin. You never do. You might be in your sass. You might be jacked off. But you would never wish any harm to ever come to a soulmate or a twin flame. You'd never want that. Even in your... Yeah, you would never want that. Even if they fucked you right over, you never want that. But with the twins, what you will find, if you are very open about it, and you are to the point that you're all talking, you're twins, and you're just cruisy with the whole situation as it stands, and you're dating someone and they're dating someone, you're spiritual friends and your guides to each other. It could be your sibling. Now, there's other groups of twins who directly are of a romantic nature. They're more inclined to, if you can do the purging and the growth, yes, in this lifetime you will be having an opportunity, should you choose, to have that connection with your twin. So, I mean, looking at the path, there's no rational reason why so many years would flow for that to be 0. Does that make sense? I mean, if you choose to. Oh, gee, thanks. Any other zodiac signs you want me to tune into? Pisces, though, Pisces has been dealing with emotions and connections to the past. A lot of us have also come to a point where we're saying, and again, it's an egoic state. Okay, I'll look at Aries in a moment, where we're saying, there's no way this can happen because we've been purging on our side and they're never going to get their shit together. And again, I've always gone back to, there was a time I was living at my mother's house and it was at an adult age and I never thought I'd do that. And when I did, I was going, oh my God, it was during a recession. I was stuck, and it was my ego was saying, I would have never moved back to my mother's, but I had a child. I'd also taken a young girl in that was a teenager, and she had been flatmating for me because her mother didn't want her to live there, so I took her under my wing. And we all slept in one room. It was a very chock-a-block sardines house. It was a unit we were living in. And during the recession, it happened to be my twin and I had broken up, so I moved back in, and there was all 3 of us in the room like bloody sardines, and I kept saying to myself, nothing ever stays the same forever, because the truth is nothing ever does. And in that time frame, I would pound the pavement to the point I'd probably walk the Great Wall of China or all the way to Jakarta, And no, it didn't stay the same, because one day I got very angry. And that's what I mean by, you can live in a frequency for so long, but at some point you're going to get damn straight pissed off and you're going to do something about it. If that means masculine's got to take 3 weeks, it takes 3 weeks. If it means it's 10 years, it's 10 years. But I don't think they'll be able to cope that long, especially with how fatigued the frequency is this year. Worst case scenario, I'd probably give them another 6 months max, and I think they'd be cracking. Because with the heaviness of what has transpired, once their frequency starts picking up, moving out of the retrograde, I think the clarity and the eyes wide open syndrome is going to come through. And that's for all of us collectively, because we're very tired. We don't, when you're sick, what do you want? Your essentials. You can't be bothered with fights. You can't. You just don't have that frequency. So if it is balanced, then it's going to continue the way it is. Now, as for Aries, Aries has been doing their energy very uniquely. And especially with the ones that I've been dealing with, they literally are meditating upon their love life via their work. Very unique individuals. And this has come through in all the readings I've done, and especially psychically, tuning into my clientele. Aries has this belief system stemmed from childhood that their next devil happened there. Interesting. They bite off more than they can chew, and they do get it done, but it exhausts them. Now, by the end of the year, even tuning into it, they're having a realization that work isn't the be-all and end-all. So most Aries have been working, but it's their hard drive, right? Similar to Deb's mum. Working and thinking. But it's a front. It's very different, because they're actually using it as a direct wall to prevent connections. Because the ego is saying, but you just want to be with me because of my money. But they don't want that. They want you to want them without the money. So they're in this conflicting state of, but I have so much to offer, can't you see? And then, no, you're not taking it from me. So it's they're sort of like back and forward with it, but they're coming out of that state. A lot of them are keeping away from direct connections with females, because they've gone through a few things in the last few years where they've bitten off more than they can chew, and it's made them directly assess that frequency from both sides of the fence. And they're looking at it going, okay, well, when I had the cash, all they wanted was the cash. When I had no cash, they told me, then I had true love, but then I was like, but why? I've got nothing to offer. Why are you different? And that was divine feminine. So it's the conflict of that factor. Oh, okay, what was the other one? There was another one further up. I'll come back to Taurus. Virgo. Virgo kept coming through where they're keeping their mouth closed about certain things. Now, when I say that, they're great diplomats, but at the same time, they're straight shooters. So if they've got something to say, they're going to say it. They've really been evolving at a very high level this year. They're moving through the frequency of fear-based frequencies and realizing that all along, a lot of what they were fearing they couldn't achieve was what they were always doing. Does that make sense? So especially when it comes to work, especially if you were a feminine, you come out of a twin flame connection, females in general, you know, getting to the point you're realizing, wow, you know, every time I achieve something and it's beautiful and it's great, you know, it's either taken away from me or, gosh, you know, can I succeed? Aren't they noting me for this? And then the burden becomes too high. Then on the other end, for male energies, the same thing, right? Where you got tired of that frequency, you checked out for a bit with it because it became a burden and you were like, I don't want to have to do this. I need something different. Why do I have to be responsible all the time? Why can't I just have someone take care of me? Now, that's all good and well, providing the reality was your soul was always bigger than someone caring for you. So for those of you who are in that stuck frequency, I swear that's my daughter. If you're stuck in that frequency, you're coming out of it. But regardless, you're all having that realization about that factor right now. So you're about to free yourselves from it, but you're also realizing that you can actually achieve greatness. And some of you in the new year, if you haven't already, will be looking at perhaps starting businesses, starting something where you can completely have control of it, where it's going to be your baby. It's always got to be one, doesn't there? Do you know what I mean? Uncomplicate it then. As Shelley says, that's a you problem. That's not a me problem. You know, it's funny, we do overcomplicate things with our twin, and especially in the mirroring. A lot of us, again, get triggered and it goes to that egoic state. So we do get scared, and then we're thinking, oh, I can't do with that because there's going to be a consequence. Yes, there's going to be a consequence, but there already is. You're tolerating something below your standard. So address it, and then it doesn't have to stay that way. And when it's intended to evolve, it's going to evolve. But in the meantime, you don't have to deal with that frequency. But you get scared because you're looking at it, and this is the biggest problem in the Twin Flame Collective. We are looking at it as a traditional relationship. It's not a traditional relationship. You know, some twins are like, if I wish I could find my twin, and we're looking at you going, let me just go get a medic because we need to talk, okay? It's not a fun journey. And I do recall before birth, so I do recall birth, actually not having to come back and choosing to come back. And in the midst of my path and me being psychic and seeing physical things with visions and that I've had over my lifetime, I know I came back in support of my twin. In a past life, a lot of what he's currently going through, I actually lived that, and it's in my chart. So I'm like, are you joking? So it's like, and I recall actually speaking to an energy that was next to me and going to a book, and in opening this book, telepathically we communicated, and I said and it was literally the family, the path I was to live, the people that would be interacting with me. I picked that path, and they just looked at me like, are you tripping? And I was like, yeah, that is the only way. I must have thought I was a smart cookie. Now look at this shit. Okay, let's check what other things were here that I missed. Now, the videos will be open before the 16th. I should be scrolling it here, but I haven't. Okay, so if anyone puts a newbie up and I've missed it, chuck it up, and please hit the like button, guys, because this information, if you're here still listening, then that means that it's going to be relevant to other feminines. And if it does help them, by seeing that like bell, it actually motivates them to come and watch the video, especially during this time of the retrograde. It helps with their support. I couldn't give two hoots about the video, quite frankly, but if you feel personally that this is helping you, then it's more likely to help other feminines, okay? I think we talked about Libran. What are you scared about? I am going to pull cards. We are doing an energy reading in here, so I'll answer a few more questions and I'll pull the cards. Taurus and lately keep talking. What, you got that self-talk going on, Carmen? You've been thinking a lot lately, lady. I can feel the energy from the house. You're in your mind a lot. I'll say that. You are in your mind a lot. Yeah, it's bloody noisy over there. Keep it down, okay? You won't ever, look, this is what we're not understanding. You never go back to the beginning. You never go back to the beginning. The reality is many of us are getting to the karma, which is, again, we're moving through that cycle. By the 16th, it's the purging of the ego, the humbling effect, the tower moments, the aha, epiphany moments, seeing what's not working and having some, interestingly enough, what is Mercury directly connected to? Anyone? What's Mercury connected to? Give me a spiel about what you feel it's connected to. What does Mercury govern? While I have a sip of my coffee. Yeah, electronics, communication. Cars. Contracts. Really? I'll have to look. Yeah, well, that doesn't surprise me. Mercury already is in shadow aspect regardless, so those things do. No, not yet, love. I'll talk about Leos in a minute. Even from the aspect of communication, breakdowns in communication, breakdowns in physical movement, suppression. Look at it that way. So if moving the ego aside, looking at it very 3D, if they aren't happy and they can't budge, they're stuck, they're in that state and they're having a humbling effect because Venus is going, you need to move your ass forward. And Mercury's then taking that away from them. They're going, okay, it's the hard to the hardcore of squash. It's like, we're going to show you, okay, you know what you love, but you're not moving towards it. Okay, you've had your epiphany. You've seen the shadow aspects of things. You've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly from October onwards and probably your whole life. And that's for all of us collectively. Mercury then goes retrograde. Your car stops working. You can't move at a physical level. Technology's not working, so you can't get communication out. You're going into a panic tit. Cross wires within karmic connections. It's looking pretty bleak, but not in the way you guys are thinking, because you guys, some of you aren't in communication. Yes, you need to be mindful of the communication, but yes, it can transform. And those who have recently lost people in a sense of love interests moving away, yes, it can come back again. It's merely due to the retrograde that's happening. Leos are assessing their current connections at a very large level. Leos have been, in some ways, it depends on if you're taking the trait of an awakened Leo or a blocked Leo. Now, there's a difference. Really? Yeah, it's bloody long. It needs a good wash at the moment. Why did I ban you? I'd have to go back into my reference check. Oh, some things do happen even with us out, you know, without us actually, what would you call it? Having control over it. You know, it's not like if we're knowingly so allowing people to do certain things, yes, that's a choice. But when things are done behind our backs, that's not a knowing choice. That we take no accountability for. That is without us. But what we do after that fact, yes, we take direct action. But, you know, especially a lot of feminines in certain groups, which is what Shelley and I have been talking about, have also been going through post-traumatic stress through some of the things that have happened. So their healing has been a little bit more problematic. And again, masculines can have that frequency too. But Leos, some Leos have been stuck. Bye. Leos have been stuck. Some of them are seeing things that they do want mass change in. Some Leos are actually taking ownership of certain roads that they're wishing to go down. And also noting where they want to change the way in which they communicate and the permissions they give to people, if that makes sense. But it depends on the type of Leo you are. If you're awakened and you're aware and you're not coming from a manipulation factor, you're having that self-awareness. But if you're not, you're seeing perhaps where other people have been manipulating you. Now, there was another question, I believe, and then we'll get into the read. How recent? Yeah, Capricorns are assessing at the moment. You're assessing to make your final move. They are. Aries are very giving, but they almost shoot their foot off because they sometimes and it's the same with their jobs, you know, they give. Taurus, you guys are 50-50 too. Some of you, if you're twins, might have got to a point, and I'd say it's more the third wavers or the end of the second wavers. Some of you might have just got really peeved off and moved on with a soulmate figure who you believe to be a soulmate figure. It's not a soulmate figure. It was there to teach you an aspect of your power, but you're going to have to see that. Because you're going to have a realization that this person is more toxic than what your twin was. And it was there because you weren't acknowledging, and this is the buggery of the bloody twin flame journey. No man or woman is a bloody ocean. And this is even for collective. You know, we need to take accountability for these things, but we get scared, right? And we are so broken at times that we look outside of ourselves for that healing. Some could say that by not going into connections, that's fair of commitment, but no, it's being accountable and realizing, hey, hang on a minute, you know, I think I need a bit of time out to gain my bearings, to get my life shit together so that I can create and it's not even a fort. It's like, to me, I'm still the same person. I'm not going to look over my shoulder. You want to leave, you can leave. Like, you can't force a person to stay with you. Begging and groveling is BS to me now. That shit's gone to the left. Love Beyonce for that. Not that I watch music much. You know, I watch all sorts of music. So the way in which you deal with certain things, and especially for Taurus at the moment, Taurus was betrayed by twin. Now, what then happened was you felt an emptiness, but there's been three energies around you that have hurt you. Oh, 4, okay? Childhood related dynamics impacted that path mentally, connected to your mum and dad. It may have been mother or father passed or mother and father separated, but it's a dynamic that is mirroring there. Some sense of conflict within that dynamic. Then you were forced to be very mature in some aspects of your life where a lot of pressure was put on you, either at a financial level, an emotional level, or a paradigm level. And then moving forward, you might have had a karmic, and that karmic may have treated you very, very, very poorly. Although you might have walked away at the time from twin or vice versa, however it directly links. Waiting for this process to come through, there was then another energy that was coming through to you, for some of you, not all of you. Now, this person looked like a bloody bed of roses. There is complications connected to this. You need to be very, very careful with this person. Very careful, okay? I have a very negative feeling around this person, whoever this is relating to. You need to watch your backs. They're going to bring you undone. If you have that gut feeling, step aside from the jackass. Step aside, they're going to burn you. They're going to so bring you down. It can affect your career. It can affect your finances. It's affecting your self-esteem. That's for those of you who have another person who you believe to be a soulmate that isn't twin. It's not twin. This is not a twin flame. This is not a soulmate energy. They look like a bed of roses. They're manipulative. Be careful. Okay? I'm just saying, be careful. Now, the frequency of what's coming through. We're dealing with our shadow aspects. But this is transferring over. Oh, don't make me hungry. I've added fruit to the fridge. So, because I've been sitting doing all the videos. I mean, I did 17 yesterday. I stay up sometimes till 1, 2 in the morning and I get hungry and I would eat toast. And it's like, I'm not for carbs. It just doesn't work for my digestion. It just doesn't work. And then I gain weight. So I've put fruit in there, and you're talking about cake, you're making me hungry. Scorpio, moving out of Scorpio, and Jupiter is moving into the sign of Sagittarius. This is where this is changing, okay? This is where that aspect is finalized and clarity is going to. We're moving from that to that. We're having energy work done on us, all right? This is to prepare you for union. Feels like shit. Again, mother, father energy. We're not facing it. We need to face it. Now, there's going to be a synchronicity here. I'm sorry. I shouldn't promote it, but hey, you know, it's been one of those weeks. Fuck. It's about the only naughty thing I do. I don't drink. And if I do, I'll be a one-drink wonder. Okay, inner child aspects need to be addressed. Some of you have already dealt with it. Others of you are really choosing to grow up, to man up, woman up in the frequency. There is a lot of, we're really getting to the point where we are coming to the feminine energy. So that's why we're feeling the emotions more so, because we're regaining our feminine energy. We're getting into the frequency where we're allowing the masculine to be the masculine, whoever that be in our life. But our mindset has changed back into the frequency of feminine. Masculines are moving into the frequency of masculine energies, where its home is, and we're giving the baton back. Here you go. What are you going to do with it? Now, this is interesting. This card to me is about you manifesting things. You releasing it to the point you're allowing the masculine to do what they need to do, and understanding and cutting the cord to the point you allow them to transform. Your insecurities about it can be hindering it a little bit this week. So try and white light yourself, or cleanse yourself, or keep yourself occupied. Yes, if something comes up, heal it, have you cry, do what you need to do. But it can be, if they're in a karmic connection, that they're not feeling the need for intimacy. They're not feeling flow. And I will pull clarifiers. They're like, you're killing it. It's not, yeah, they're not feeling it. They're not feeling it at all. Some of you last week would have felt the sacral chakra energy activated. At the moment, a lot of feminines are feeling the base chakra activated and heart chakra. So, you know, weeping, headaches as well, because your intuition, your crown is being activated. Yeah, shoulder aches, headaches, tension. But sacral chakra energy for manifestation, and heart chakra as well, it's being activated. So you might have felt them near you, coming through in dreams. That's dissipated because they're now... the proximity is directly an issue for them, and it's something they're going to need to deal with in their 3D lives. Otherwise, they're going to be living with it permanently. And that is a realization that they're coming to, that, you know, they're coming out of anger about it and having a realization. They're not angry about it. They're enlightened by it. They're realizing where they didn't own their power. And they're not happy within this karmic connection. Okay, now they're not looking at the miscommunication between the two of you. They're actually seeing eye to eye in relation to the way that you were perceiving things, the intuition you had around the time. And they're seeing the reason why you reacted in the way you did. And they do want to communicate this factor. Poor twin. Okay, now, at the moment, I feel that there's two messages coming through for the next card. This is in relation to how your twin's looking at you, okay? God of vulnerability in reverse. Some of them have directly dealt with it and they're completely okay because they've come out of that frequency of feeling, you know, down. Can be the, you know, the awakening and the dark night of the soul. It's like they're coming out of that. For those of them who this is relevant for, and I feel this is all of them, they're not feeling vulnerable anymore. They're taking their power back because they've come out of this frequency and they're like, enough of the BS in life. They've lived in the frustration energy that has nothing to do with you, and they've seen the lack of faith in the connection. It might have been, and that's really coming through for the mid-months, you know, for the videos that I've done so far. It's been quite interesting. A lot of you with the videos, when you do open them up when they're released, be mindful that just because it says you're getting communication, you know, be grounded enough to cope with it. Because it doesn't mean everything's a bed of roses right away. There's work involved. Okay, so they're coming out of sadness. They're like, right, I'm snapping out of this. What they are wanting is this love. They want to feel, they feel you're the whole package. It's 1-1 at the top. For those of you who this is relevant, okay? They also, they're a bit confused, okay? Because some of them are like, well, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? They're hoping that you still want them, but they're a bit confused because, and this came through in another reading, Shelley and I were talking about it, and it's coming through here as well. A lot of them are very confused, and it's been part of the karmic process for them to have a realization that each time they've come back in their life, and this might be a healing process for them to actually come to an awareness of, is that why do other people take from me, yet you don't want anything from me? What's the catch? And that's what's coming through in this card. It's like they want it, and they're seeing the duality. You hold everything. You hold the crown, the passion, the love and the understanding, but you don't want anything from them. They do have hope, but they're like, what's the catch here? Do you know what I'm saying? So this is actually making them scared. They're like, what's the catch? I won lotto, so you're telling me I won lotto and I can have it. They're not even going to charge me tax. What's the catch? So, should be on the other shoe, quite frankly. Yeah, because they're like, so do you want me? Don't you? Yeah, too good to be true syndrome. But they, you know, they're wondering also if you have another connection. And again, that was coming through in the mid-months. They know who doesn't have the magic and they know who does. So those of them who are in a karmic situation, they're at the, they feel it hasn't ended between the two of you, but they're trying to end a situation of what no longer has magic. And I feel this is the karmic frequency, okay? And I don't usually care about reading for the karmic. I really don't care. You literally do find, yeah, there's going to be misfortune when this happens. So, okay, so how do I put it? You need to understand that in the card readings, when they come through, and especially if you're seeing this collectively through the readings, and you're going, oh, I've heard it, it's not coming through. A tower moment happens in your life. Do you get a job right away the next day? If you're lucky, well, bloody good on you. But generally, no. Generally, shit's got to go down first. You need to connect all the dots, connect life back up, pick the pieces of the debris up and rebuild. So it can say communication, and that's the same sense. Wanting to communicate and at a 3D level being able to communicate, you know, they have to take into account your safety, their safety, if it's rational, if they've healed completely, if they need a bit more time. They also need to be mindful of what happened in the past and, you know, deal with those situations. So, yes, it will come through at a regular basis through the readings prior to it directly actually happening. But when it does, it does not mean to say that it's going to be full-blown union. It may be that if you haven't dealt with your blocks, that will come through in the connection while you're in it. It doesn't mean to say you won't reach union in that connection. How self-aware are you? How self-governing can you be away from your ego? You can't control how they react, but you can control how you react. That's all you can do. I've tried to express I was hopeful. That's okay. That's fine. But they need to absorb that now. That's what happens. Okay, I've missed some things. So, yeah, like you just make your statement and step back. Masculines are unique individuals. It's a bit like the fair-based frequency card. What's the catch? There's no catch. Go and absorb that. If you feel there's a catch, go and make your assessment. Does that make sense? And that's something he needs to learn, because you're not doing that and they are. And sometimes feminines can get triggered. We're looking at it going, I don't take from you. I'll give you the world. And now that's for feminines to come back and go, okay, what's your net worth? Your net worth is you shouldn't need to give millions of dollars in order to have a person's love. You shouldn't. So don't. And let them show that without that. Example being, yeah, but there's work as well, and that's the problem, you know. So yes, at a very simplistic level, we do want the connection. We do, and both, it's quite mutual in the frequency of having it simple like that. But the truth is, life is not simple. You know, there are children's involvements in many stages. There is work-related dynamics. There's proximity. There's differing of views, differing worlds. And to get that to a balanced place where we can say, okay, we're from opposite sides of the world, opposite sides of life. Can this work? Well, yes, it can. You just need to be accepting of each other's differences. I can't even imagine seeing mine. Mine's been 8. And all up 17 years. If you are a twin, it won't go away, because part of it is there for you to spiritually grow. But every person's path is different. 1 to 2 months means jack shit in a twin flame journey. Until you can have a realization you're a twin, it doesn't change. You're a twin. You're operating from a place of fear, which is ego, which is delaying reconnection. It's almost like needing to cut the belief that by you holding onto a steering wheel, it is going to get rid of it or keep it, okay? Yes, I still love him, but I think about him, but we've communicated throughout. Yeah. But has there been movement? If there's no movement, is there something in the actions? Is there a block connected to it? Or are you allowing it to remain in the same frequency? And that's not for him to choose and say, okay, then, and quit communication. It's got to be something he chooses still. I've said exactly the same to my twin. I do recall a conversation I had with him, and I said to him, look, you may feel that you are not good enough for me, but I feel the same. And that is a collective thing. We think that, right? Because we put each other up on a pedestal, but then we see the differences and we get triggered. But you can't choose what my okay and correct is. That's my choice. And but until they can get to that, you know what I mean? It does, but if it's keeping it at the same frequency all the time, you need to ask yourself the question, are you delaying the transformation? Are you not trusting in it enough to believe that the transformation can happen? Are you holding on to something that already has the chapter as per se has died and the new chapter within your connection needs to start? Are you believing there's no such thing as a second chapter? That's part of the process. But in that, you need to look at the mirror and see why he did, what happened within it, and do the work connected to that. I've had 3 to 4, probably 3 reconnections with my twin, with lots of work. But then that was my life path. That was the work I had to do, okay? And the work he had to do in his life, and soul paths and contracts that we had obviously with other people in life. Any other questions? Please like the video, guys. Yeah, but there's a key to it. There's always a key to it. You know, and a lot of us at the moment... You're funny, Olsen. Olsen's thinking. What are you thinking, Olsen? You're making me hungry. Why do you have to do that? 11147. Oof, this is a pretty long one. Hit the like button, please. Remember, if this relates to you, it's going to relate to someone else. Emma, we're about to leave the building. I'll stay for a little bit longer. I am going to create a video that each time I'm going live, I will put it, but I do put it in the communication section, okay? Thank you, Dale. I do try and put it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube in the communication section to give you a heads up. I've got emails on there. I have changed a lot of the things. The other day I went to, everything happens for a reason, right? I went to edit one of the specials and I deleted every session of bookings on the page, and I went, you have to be joking. So I updated all of them. I have a combination twin flame, sounds like Chinese combination, a combination of general and twin flame, which is 2 areas, you know, 2 main areas to tune into. You can work on your blocks. I can psychically tap into you, tune into them, and see what's going on from their frequency. There's soulmate as well as general, or there's just soulmate or twin flame, or there's a general reading, which is just for, you know, your finances and love interest potential coming in, just very separate to the twin flame soulmate journey. So I do video, email, telephone, Skype so far. I will be creating a room later with the new twin flame channel that I'm launching. Hopefully super chat can get connected very quickly and we can do super chat, and I will come on maybe 3 times a month and offer discounted mini readings. Could be. Any other questions? Get ready. Okay, get ready for this. Moving into the 16th, it's going to be interesting. There is a lot. I have noticed in the last 3 weeks there have been a lot of, probably in the last week more so, a lot of trigger points where there's a lot of aggression coming through with people's energy. There's also, I've noticed in the news, not that I watch news, but it's getting flooded through to Facebook, a lot more deaths. So there is a frequency change. But it's not personal. That's the way in which they're directly reacting to it, and that's a them problem, not a you problem. Yeah. Yes, I felt that last night. And that's more when I am tuning into the collective, and then I'm thinking about it and I'm going, oh, okay, it's time to do a video, because it's a complete radical change of frequency, and it's like, okay then. And then I notice in my clientele they're like that, and I'm like, yeah, I should probably do an update. But yes, what I am intuitively picking is moving through to the 16th. Many of us are going to make pretty set. Yeah, tomorrow you'll feel different. We're wanting to make a set road, a path. We're wanting to move towards a path. So that's actually affecting the frequency of masculines at the moment. Yes, well, I do have a few recordings for clients today. So if you're waiting for your video, yes, I'm doing it today. And look after yourselves. And yes, you will have the blessing of divine masculine, divine feminine by zodiac sign, hopefully up prior to the 16th. And I'll probably do an energy check-in around then. You too, Carmen. You too. Look after yourself, woman. Yeah. Yeah, come over. Come on down. Bye, everyone.